So today I wanted to start talking about a few different vocabulary words that are going to be important to understand as we go into this lesson. The first one I wanted to talk about is the word perspective. Does anybody know what that word means? Yes, it is a hard one. So perspective can mean a few different things, but mostly it means how one person sees things. For example, from where I am sitting, I cannot see, or from my perspective, I cannot see the bookshelf on the other side, but student number 2 can see the bookshelf from his perspective because that's where he's sitting. This word can be used in multiple instances. Like how when someone says there are 2 sides to every story, they are talking about perspective. So when we have misunderstandings with our friends, we may not understand the other person's perspective. Has anybody ever said something they thought was funny but actually ended up hurting someone else's feelings? That is because from the other person's perspective, it was not funny but mean instead. That brings us to our next word, intentions. Does anybody know what the word intention means? Well, let's go back to our example about the friend who said something he thought was funny but ended up hurting the other person's feelings. The first friend thought what he said was going to be funny, so his intentions were to be funny, even though the other friend didn't think so. Intentions are basically what we mean to do when we do things, or the reason behind what we are doing. For example, when I come to school, my intentions are to teach the class. When I go to the grocery store, my intentions are to buy groceries. What are your intentions when you come to school? Yes, your intentions are to learn. What are your intentions when you go outside to recess? Right, you intend on playing when you go outside. So our intentions are what we plan on doing, or the meaning behind what we do, or the reason for what we do. Has anyone ever experienced a time where they had a different perspective than someone else? Yes, siblings often get in fights and have different perspectives or points of views. Has anyone ever experienced a time where someone's actions did not match what they are saying? Yes, your brother saying he was going to help you clean your room and then not helping you is a good example. What do you think that says about the person's intentions? Right, it is probably better to believe that the person's intentions are in what he or she does and not what they say. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a familiar story, The Three Little Pigs. Who remembers this story or has read it before? What do you remember about the story? Yes, there are 3 pigs. They all build houses of different materials, and the wolf blows their houses down and eats them until he gets to the brick house, where he can't blow it down. We're going to reread the story together to refresh our memories. So here we would read The 3 Little Pigs. Do you think the wolf is the bad guy in the story? What if I told you there was another story from the wolf's perspective that he says is the true story? What does that mean if the story is from the wolf's perspective? Yes, it means it is his side of the story and how he thinks it happened. But we are going to see if the intentions of the wolf really are good in his side of the story. So this is the true story of the 3 little pigs, told from the wolf's perspective. Here we would read the story while using metacognitive skills to think out loud, and conversations to point out interesting ideas, illustrations, predictions, and comparisons to the original story that would support the point we're trying to make here.